In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 money laws you probably don't know about, and if you ignore these, you will be broke. What's going on, guys? Vibrational Alignment here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. Today, we are talking about your money mindset, and how to attract more abundance and wealth into your life. You're helping other people improve their health. You're a practitioner, you're a coach, you're trying to grow your business, and part of that means accumulating money, right? Making money in the service of other people, which is totally cool. It's totally fine. And the challenge is that if you're not making enough money, here's the reality, is you're not helping the number of people you think you are. I started off 20 years ago in business with poverty line income for the first 3 years. I didn't know what I was doing. I had a terrible relationship with money. I never learned any of this stuff until like a lot later on in life. And I went from that to becoming a decamillionaire by 41. And I want to share some of the principles and laws that I've learned over the years that I think can help you as well. If you understand these, you will start to become the type of person who is more attractive to money. But remember, money is simply the byproduct of the work and the help you're doing in this world, right? You're making money in the service of other people, not at their expense. So you've probably heard of the law of attraction, right? That's no surprise. What you focus on, you get. I want to share 3 laws with you might not have heard of, but are still very important to understand as it pertains to attracting abundance. The first one is the law of vibrational alignment. The law of vibrational alignment. This is so important that one of my cars, the license plate is vibrate high. Okay? Basically what that means is when you vibrate, all of us, every single thing on this planet has a vibration. Obviously, if you're looking at a human, they're not vibrating, but there is at this subatomic level, like energy vibrates, right? That's just the way it is. If you want to get into atomic, subatomic, physics and all that kind of stuff, you can go for it. But I'm going to try to keep it relatively understandable here to the degree that I know and understand this. So like attracts like. So if you vibrate at a very high frequency, and I'll talk about what that means in a second, you will attract things that also vibrate at that same frequency. It's like you're a radio tower emitting 103.5. You will only attract that frequency, right? Now, it just so happens that abundance, whatever that looks like in your life, right? Nicer things, more money, has a higher vibration than lower level things. So what we want to think about is your vibration is your frequency, and your frequency is what you frequently see. So if your life is just all this awesomeness and you're appreciating the beauty and different things, you will have a very different reality on the same planet that a lot of other people exist, and they exist, but those people might have a very different experience of this reality because their frequency is at a different level. It's either higher or lower or the same. So if someone is vibrating at a very low frequency, you see these people, right? They drive shitty cars that are broken down, that have dents in the cars. They're unhealthy. They just look like their life is in shambles. You can tell this is someone who doesn't have a high vibration, right? They walk around slumped shoulders. There's no energy in them. They're a vessel. They're a carcass walking around. That type of frequency is so low, it is never going to attract abundance. But the cool thing is all of us have the opportunity to change in a second. Simply by how we use our body, how we hold ourselves, what we focus on, the language we use. It's very simple things. Because when you raise your vibration, right? When you raise your frequency, when you are happier, when you express joy, gratitude, when you do work that fills you up and you feel good emotions most of the time, this is how you increase your vibration. And when you feel good most of the time, you attract more good things into your life. And that is the whole idea of the law of vibrational alignment. If abundance has a high frequency, you need to match up to it in order to attract it. To have what you want, you need to become the type of person to attract it. So if we think of lottery winners, right? We've all heard the story of the lottery winner who loses all the money within a couple months, or they blow it. And the reason for that, I'm sure there's obviously caveats to that, but the reason on average that stuff like that happens is someone who just wins lottery, the $10 million in the lottery, is fundamentally not the type of person that they need to be to actually manage it, keep it, and grow it. And therefore it leaves. because it has no alignment with that person. And you can say, well, Yuri, how did they win the lottery in the first place? And to be honest, I don't have an answer for that. But what I can say is when you look at people who are generally wealthier and have good things in life, generally, not all the time, right? But generally, just be curious about how they show up and their energy, right? And how they hold themselves. Because if you can start to model success, not copy it, but model how these people live, you too start to become that type of vibration, that type of frequency, and you will, maybe not instantaneously, but you will start attracting that type of stuff into your life. So the law of vibrational alignment is really important. The second law of money is the law of capacity. So let me give you an example, and I've used something like this before. All right, so I have my protein shake in this big mason jar, and I have a glass of water over here. So here you are, and you're this glass of water, and you're saying to yourself, hey, I want more. I want more water. And let's just say water equals money in this case. So I want lots more water. I don't have enough water. And here's what the universe is telling you. Hey, dude, you can't handle more water because this is all the capacity you have. I would love to give you more, but you're not ready to receive it yet. So what does that mean? Well, if you want more, you have to increase the size of your cup. You have to increase your ability to receive. So what does that mean? How do you do that? Well, that's where the work starts, right? That's why being an entrepreneur is so amazing, because you have to go through this journey of personal development. That's why I always say your business growth follows your personal growth. Your personal growth is the cup. The business growth is the money, is the water, is the money. You do not do it the other way around. You don't make a lot of money and then become the type of person who can receive it. You must become the type of person who is able to receive more in order to receive more. At any given time, what you have in your bank, in your wallet, in your life is all you are capable of handling. And the reason you don't have more of what you want is because you are not ready to bring that into your life. Again, taking 100% ownership of your stuff, of your life, of your results is important, because when you understand this, you can't blame anyone else, but you can take 100% accountability to becoming better. You must become who you need to be to have what it is you want. It's not have, do, be. It's be, do, have. Got it? So we have to become the type of person who is capable of receiving more. What does that mean? Well, let's just look at a very tactical example. If you cannot manage the small, you will not receive the big. If, for instance, you look at your bank account and you don't manage whatever money you currently have, don't be surprised when you don't get more. There's a story I once heard where a father takes his son out for ice cream, a small guy, 5, 6 years old, and the son grabs a scoop of ice cream on a cone. They walk out of the ice cream parlor and the scoop of ice cream falls off the cone as the son is licking it, and he starts having a tantrum. And then he's like, I want another one, but this time I want 2 scoops because the first one fell on the ground. So what do you do? Well, what the father does in this case is said, well, why would I give you 2 scoops if you can't handle 1? And that's the metaphor, is that you do not get 2 if you can't handle 1. You don't get 10 if you can't handle 5. You can't have $1 million if you can't handle 100,000. So one of the things hopefully you get from this is understanding how to look at your numbers, how to manage cash flow, how to manage your life and look at your expenses, your income. I'm not talking about making budgets, but I'm talking about just understanding the flow and looking at your numbers, your bank account on a daily basis. Because the better the job you do at managing this stuff and understanding it, the more reassurance you give to the universe that you're ready to receive more. Think of it, again, back on planet Earth. If you go to the bank or you go to, you get a credit card and they say, hey, your limit's $10,000. And then you're like, cool, I want a $25,000 limit. They're like, no, you qualify for $10,000 because you haven't demonstrated that you can handle 25. Got it? Maybe you don't have the level of expenditure or the level of credit that you need or the income you need yet. So what do? You use the credit you have, $10,000, you buy stuff, you invest, you pay it off. You keep doing that over and over and over again, and you show the banks or the credit card company that you have the skills and the capability to handle $10,000. And then what do? They increase your credit to 12 or 15 or 20, but it doesn't happen right away because you're not able to handle the small before you can get the big. Okay? So we have to understand that if we want more of the water, we have to increase our cup. And the way we do that is by being a more capable entrepreneur, a more capable version of ourselves who understands money, who understands the flow of all this stuff, and just understands like you can't turn a blind eye to this stuff. Okay, it's not just going to magically appear for you. You have to become a money master. The third law of money is the law of belief. So in life, you don't get what you want. You get what you believe you deserve. You get what you believe is possible. And this is one of the biggest things that I see health professionals, coaches, entrepreneurs, humans in general, is that they don't believe they're worth it. They don't believe it's possible. And I'll share a story with you that I've shared before. I had a good friend of mine who 10 years ago now, we were in a mastermind, small group, and we're sitting at this long table, and he's just getting started online. And a friend of ours who is already crushing, he's doing like 8 figures with one ebook. Okay, this is back in the day when ebooks, you could sell them. So this guy was always like the godfather of like the online, marketing in the fitness space. And so anyways, he's sitting at the table. My buddy is sitting right beside him. And at one point, he leans back in his chair just to stretch. And he happened to catch a glimpse of our friend's computer screen. And he saw numbers that blew his mind, 25,000 a day, 30,000 a day. And he's like, hold on, you're doing that amount of money on a daily basis with one ebook? And what it did is it shattered his belief system. It completely showed him that this guy who was a human, a friend of ours, 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyes, wasn't necessarily the smartest bulb in the the smartest tool in the shed or the sharpest tool in the shed. He was doing those types of numbers. So all of a sudden, he's like, why couldn't I? And within 2 years, he went from 0 to 8 figures in his online fitness business. And I think a big piece of that was because of the belief system that he had now adopted to be like, wow, that's possible. And this is why proximity is power. It's one thing to hear about people doing well. It's another thing when someone in your close circle who you don't see to be very dissimilar from you is absolutely crushing. Then you're like, well, there's nothing special about this guy. I'm going to do it too, right? So you get what you believe is possible for you. Let me ask you this. What's the difference between $1 and $1 million? What's the difference? I mean, obviously there's some more zeros behind $1 million. You can obviously, there's more purchasing power with $1 million, but energetically, if you say, I want to make $1 million by tomorrow, does that even seem possible for you? Or is it like, there's no way? Versus if I say, I want to make $1 by tomorrow, is that more feasible? Obviously. But why? Because we believe that making $1 is easier and faster than making $1 million. But is that true in a world that can literally create abundance at the snap of a finger? And this, now again, I understand, and for me too, this is the pragmatic, feet on the ground version of myself that's okay, obviously $1 is easy to make, right? I could go sell, a shoelace and make $1, whatever. But to make $1 million by tomorrow, but hold on, but is it possible? Maybe it's just our level of thinking is not able to comprehend what it would take to make $1 million by tomorrow. But is it plausible that there are people on this planet who are making $1 million a day? Yeah, right? They have businesses that do 8, 9 figures. And so if they can do it, why couldn't anyone else? And you can say, it takes a long time to get there. I agree, right? If you have assets, you have a following, you have a product or a service that people want, and you charge a premium price, cool. But what I'm trying to get at is I'll ask my clients, where would you like to be in 12 months from now? And some people say man, I would love to be at $50K a month. But realistically, I think starting at $10K a month would be a good place. And I'm like, why don't you think it's possible to make $50K a month in 12 months? And this is the belief. It's we have this story of how long things are going to take. And if we have this belief that it's going to take this long, how do you feel we're going to show up in this world in terms of our action, in terms of our beliefs, in terms of our certainty? But if you knew that, let's say we were working together and I said, hey, that's an amazing goal, but what if I told you that we've had clients that have gone from 0 to $1 million in 12 months? And what about if I told you we had a client that went from 0 to 65 million in less than 3 years? and it's funny because we have ads, that kind of share some of this stuff, and people are like, oh, there's no way that's possible for you, because everything in life, everything in your life is simply a projection off of your movie projector, which is nothing more than your belief system. You get what you believe is possible for you, period, end of story. So when you don't have the level of abundance, wealth, riches, health, fitness, happiness, relationships, surroundings that you want, it's not because you don't want it. It's just you don't believe it's possible for you. Maybe you don't believe you're worth it. And this is why, if you look at anyone, if I look at anyone, including myself, everything around them is a reflection of their belief system. If you drive a broken down beater with a door falling off, I know everything I need to know. And I know that sounds massively judgmental, but for someone who has a higher belief and higher standard for themselves, they would never let that would never, ever, ever be caught dead driving something like that. And you can say, well, Yuri, what if they don't have the money to pay for the repair? Exactly. Because it's not about the car. It's about everything else and who they are in life, not to even have the income in the first place to consider making that repair. And that's what I'm getting at. You walk down the street and you see a beautifully manicured lawn, beautiful flower bed, nice home. And then right beside them is a home that looks dilapidated if that's the word, unkept, weeds growing all over the place, grass is 4 feet tall. It doesn't even look like anyone lives there. Yet someone walks out of the house. Do you need to know much more between those two scenarios? Could you imagine in your mind the level of belief and standard that happens in one house versus the other? And do you see how that can trickle down to every other aspect of their life? How they run their lives, how they run their businesses, the routines they have, how they eat, how they take care of themselves, the clothes that they wear. Here's a very big problem that I'm noticing in 2024 is the younger generation. So my oldest son's 13, so his generation and a little bit older, okay, so 13 to 20, whatever, they walk around in pajamas. They're Crocs and socks, and they look like fucking homeless people. Baggy pajama bottoms. They look disheveled. And I sound like an old grandfather who may have said the same thing when I was young, who grew up in the 20s. Remember back in the day when we used to wear 3-piece suits and a top hat? Look at these kids now wearing these Lululemon pants or whatever. But here's the problem, is that how people dress, and I'm just using this as one example, is a reflection of their energy. It's their vibration. If you walk around like a slob, your vibration is at slob level. And I'm not saying you have to wear a 3-piece suit, but I'm saying we are always judging. People judge, right? And obviously you can't judge a book by its cover, but can't you? Maybe sometimes, right? Because what you have in your life is a reflection of what you believe you are worth. It's a reflection of what you believe is true for you. And I promise you that if you start to look at everything in your life in a different way, in terms of just raising the bar a little bit, I promise you things will start to work out in a much bigger way for you. I remember when I was playing soccer in France, I was 24 at the time, and I hated doing dishes. So I would just leave stuff in the kitchen and whatever. And one of my teammates, who was this jacked, just the friggin' jacked. And I remember going to his house for dinner, and the first thing he did after dinner was clean the friggin' kitchen. Dishes gone, everything is immaculately put away. And I was asking him, you do this all the time? He's like, yeah, for sure. I could never go to bed with a dirty kitchen. That's just not even a possibility for me. And I was like, you're jacked. You're an amazing soccer player. You got 2 young kids and you do this. And I was like, interesting. And again, I'm not saying if you do the dishes, you're going to become a millionaire. I'm not saying if you do the dishes, you're going to become jacked. But how you do anything is how you do everything. And how you do anything is a reflection of how you see yourself in this world. So if you don't believe you're worthy of good things, why would you even attempt to be better or to do things at a higher level? And this is what I want to encourage you to think about, is that people who make a lot of money, don't look down on them. Look up to them in the sense of not that they're better than you, but what are they doing differently? How do they think differently? How do they think about themselves differently than everyone else who's not making that kind of money. And remember, money is just like, it's the scorecard, right? They're doing something in this world that's adding more value. They're changing more lives. They're simply more valuable human beings to the marketplace than people who are making a fraction of their income. And I want to encourage you to increase your level of belief of what's possible for you. Get a better peer group. You become the reflection of the expectations of the people you spend the most time with. So if the people you spend the most time with are talking shit about the government and taxes and like blaming other people all the time, they're making nothing and they're freaking waiting tables at a diner. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that will become your belief system. You have to separate yourself out of that shit if you want to elevate yourself. You have to hang around other people who have what it is you want, who've been there and done that, and simply as a factor of proximity, positive peer pressure, you will force yourself to change because we are social beings, and if our closest circle is at a higher level than us, then we will change to become more like them, because if we don't, the fear, genetically speaking, is that we'll be ostracized from the tribe, okay? So if you hang around people that are broke, unhealthy, overweight, and have low standards, guess what? You will too. And if you hang around people that are very wealthy, very good-hearted, good-spirited, high vibration, you will be too. It is only a matter of time. I promise you that. So those are the 3 money laws you may not have heard about: the law of vibrational alignment, the law of capacity, and the law of belief. Let me know in the comments below which one struck a chord with you the most. Subscribe to the channel today because I've got hundreds of other videos to help you become a badass entrepreneur, helping more people and helping you grow your health coaching business. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Today, I want to share with you the one person, the one coach, the one advisor you want to be listening to all the time.